It's 8:15 and here I am in Tesco in Lowestoft, and this is Karen.
Yes, it is, yes.
And you was just telling me, Karen, that I need to call at Hunstanton.
Yeah, to see Rob.
To see Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, right. And who's Rob?
He's the cafe manager there.
Ah, right, okay.
And obviously he'll do you a breakfast like I've just done for you.
That's wonderful. You know, they're all lovely people around here, real friendly and everything.
Yeah, they
I
are.
was saying to you earlier, I use Tesco a lot because I really like the Tesco Scotch eggs. And
Yeah.
so I use the Tesco Scotch eggs. You can get 2 for 75p, which is like really cheap. I mean, you get what you pay for. But
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I always take a couple in a rucksack for a bit of extra energy if I need it. And I use Tesco a lot. I think it's great. And the breakfasts, I mean, look at this breakfast. That is incredible. And it's only just over £6, and it gives me all the calories I want. Really good value.
Good, I'm glad about that.
So how long have you worked here then, Karen?
4.5 years.
Right. It's a nice part of the world, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's lovely, yeah. Especially when it's nice and sunny and you can walk along the beach.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to hearing from you. Send me a message.
Yeah, okay. And enjoy your breakfast.
Thank you very much,
Cold.
Karen. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Good morning. It's Monday the 24th of June and here I am at the, let me look at the name again, the Flying 15s Cafe on the South Beach at Lowestoft. It's been a fantastic weekend in lots of ways. It's been so busy I haven't had time to stop and think about anything really. I've been doing lots of computer work and keeping an eye on things. I've done 2 long walks. I made good progress yesterday all the way up to Great Yarmouth, and I walked the other day as well. I've done pretty well, and today what I'm doing is I've got 3 objectives, and that's to tie up some loose ends, because you may remember when I arrived here on Saturday there was a big festival going on the South Beach with all these people and a stage on the beach. And it got very, very busy, and then the following day, if you remember, I moved on up to the north end of Lowestoft so that I could walk out of the city without getting gridlocked, because the 24-hour festival was still in full swing on Sunday morning. So I walked up to Yarmouth. So today it's a case of sort of dotting the I's and crossing the T's and filling in the gaps. So I've just stopped here for my first bought cup of tea of the day, and it's absolutely red hot this morning. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to walk from the point where the concert was, where I left, caught a bus all the way back to Southwold, and I'm going to walk through to where I stayed overnight on Sunday, and I had that wonderful big breakfast in a nearby pub before setting off walking up the coast. And so that's my first intention. Then when I get back to the van, I'll be driving up to Great Yarmouth, which is where I finished the walk yesterday, not quite in the town centre but not far off, and I'll be bridging that gap as well from that bus stop all the way through to Great Yarmouth and possibly even further. And I don't know quite how far I'm going to get, but there's a place called Caister-on-Sea and another place called Winterton-on-Sea, which I know that the buses go to those 2 particular places. Now after that it gets complicated. It's a 3-day walk from Winterton to Cromer, and I don't particularly want to do that on my own, or I could well do with assistance. Now, just to jump the story a little bit, Ralph called me this morning. It was very nice to hear from him, and Ralph wants to come back, so I'm going to save that part of the walk from Winterton-on-Sea to up to Cromer for when Ralph is here, because we'll have 2 vehicles. We won't have to mess about with buses, and there's not many sort of bigger places up there, and the bus goes quite a long way inland, which might make it awkward and put extra miles on, so it'll be far easier with 2 people. And he's going to let me know when he's going to come back. He wants to come back His mum's still in hospital, and from what he was telling me, she's not likely to be coming out, and the family have gathered on a couple of occasions, but it's just, what can I say, he won't be able to come for a while, but he will be coming. What I'm going to do then, because there is a very good bus service that runs all the way around from Cromer to Hunstanton, I'll be able to manage that perfectly well on my own. And while I'm on my own, I may as well as get on with it, and then it's less to do when Ralph comes, and we'll be able to, we'll have quite a lot of sort of mopping up, as I call it, doing these, going back to do a walk. We'll be able to do that much quickly, much more efficiently, and we'll know exactly what we're doing. And so that's my plan. So, as I say, the first job is this part, the South Beach here, to the north end of the town at Felixstowe, then on to from Yarmouth up to Winsterton-on-Sea, and then I'm going to drive to Cromer and try and find a campsite somewhere around or in Cromer, ideally, because the weather forecast for tomorrow is not good. It's forecast rain. It would be the ideal opportunity for me to be on a campsite with the hookup so that I can edit the films and send it to YouTube on time. I don't want to get too far behind with this. It's very easy to do film 2 days without actually editing, because it's very easy to forget what you did, and it makes the job an awful lot longer. So it's a case of making hay while the sun shines, and it's a glorious day. As I say, it's probably sitting here, it's around about 25 degrees. It's absolutely glorious, it's fantastic. Good news as well on the front of YouTube, where I've been begging you for subscriptions. Well, this morning, just before I left, I'd got 956 subscriptions, so I only need another 44 and the job's done. So I'd like to say to all of you, thank you very, very much for helping. It's been terrific. So I'm going to have my tea before it gets cold, then I'm going for probably about a 5-10 mile walk, a 10-mile walk from Cromer up to Winterton, and then I'll go and have a beer and find a campsite and chill out for a day or two. So, now that Ralph is back with us, you know what he would say if he was here. He would say, "Here we go." So this is where the stage was, in the kind of big white tent, and those are the bags of sand that would have anchored it down, and it looks as if there's still quite a lot of clearing up to do. I've not heard any reports from anybody as to whether it was a success or not, but I'm going to ask 1 or 2 questions of 1 or 2 of these people who own these huts. They might know the answer to that one. Well, I thought I'd ask someone who was involved in this, and this is Andy. And Andy, I arrived here on Saturday afternoon about 4 o'clock, when it was just more or less getting, the numbers were growing quite rapidly. How did it go after that?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was one of the best festivals I've ever been to. It was so positive. It's local, and I think it remained local. Obviously people came from far and wide to come to it, which is brilliant.
Yes.
But I think that there was so many local people who came, who were given an optimism about this.
Yes.
Which you need that when a place like Lowestoft has lost so much over years.
Yes.
And now it's got this amazing festival, which was free.
Yes.
So yeah,
yes,
it's great.
Absolutely. Because I walked up from Southwold that day, and I was with a couple very nice people. A guy who used to surf actually on the beach down as you're coming in.
Okay.
And he was telling me that 20 years ago that beach wasn't there.
Yeah.
The changes and one thing and another.
30 years ago I used to go down to the pier and make sandcastles. So my sculpture, which was on the beach here, was a sand sculpture.
I did see it actually.
Yeah, it was made out of waste packaging. It's called Sandscapes, and I was trying to get people to think about all the waste packaging that we're making. And,
Yes.
and I've never had an experience where such a wide variety of people from different backgrounds positively interacted with the work.
Excellent.
So I think that if they can make it happen again, and the team here, Genevieve Christie, Lizzie and Wayne Hemingway, if they can make it happen again, which I hope it will, I think it will just go from strength to strength.
Absolutely, and I mean, let me put it this way: I walk along the coast of the UK, and I've walked through thousands and thousands of places, all different. I don't pass judgment on any of them, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've got to say, I'm very impressed with Lowestoft, and I can see what they say. It looks a little bit run down in places, and it's an industrial place. And I'm from Hull,
Yeah,
and
so-
there's Hull and Grimsby and Lowestoft,
Yeah,
who used to be
similar,
involved
yeah.
in the fishing industry, and that industry disappeared
Yeah.
overnight, and it'll take 3 or 4 generations to kind of fully
Yeah,
recover
definitely,
from that.
Definitely.
And so if the council are forward thinking enough to want to do some promotions like this, which is not necessarily aimed at younger people, but it gives them an interest in the place where they live, and,
Definitely.
and they look at it in a different light, and,
Yeah.
and I think it's a brilliant way of doing it.
Well-
And I'm from Hull, where they've just had the City of Culture,
Yeah.
and look what that did.
Exactly, and I think that pride, hope for the future is exactly what the locals want and need.
Yes.
And I'm local, so yeah, I think that 50 miles of coastline, and this is one small part, which is just a beautiful
Yes,
place to be.
yes, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic, and you've summed it up so eloquently.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much indeed. So you're going to be coming next year then, obviously.
Oh, you try and stop me.
Do you think this might encourage them to have these kind of things more often? Maybe?
I think it will. I think that and I heard Wayne Hemingway speaking on the news, and he said about we just need to loosen up about our spaces that we all use, like the beaches, and do things.
Yes.
And there's obviously, infrastructure's hard to do on the beach, things like
Yes.
that. But I would say that this is just an example of where getting something done, rather than worrying about if it can be done.
Yes.
And they just got it done, and it
Yes,
worked.
Yes. Are they going to do something like that in, say, Yarmouth as an example? I mean, I did notice actually when I walked out of Suffolk into Norfolk without realising actually, because the sign was to my back. And when I got up to Hopton and
Yeah.
beyond there,
Yeah.
I was all of a sudden I was looking at Norfolk.
We
coastal
won't
path.
judge you badly.
No, no, but anyway, look, thank you very much indeed for your
Thank
time.
you.
It's
Thank you
been
very
an
much.
absolute pleasure meeting you.
Brilliant.
And thank you for that. That
Thanks
was a
very much
lovely
indeed.
report.
Brilliant.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. It's 1:30 now, and I'm probably within about half an hour of getting back to the van. There's been a considerable change in the weather. It's gone rather cool actually. The wind's picked up a little bit, but not too bad. But the sun's gone, and there's quite a light covering of cloud, but it doesn't mean to say that we're not going to see the sun again. But as I say, it has calmed down. So my intention now is just to go back to the van, which is maybe about half an hour away, and have a bit of a rest, cup of tea, bite to eat, check up on YouTube, and you know why. And I can feel a few spots of rain as I'm speaking to you as well now. So I've got the intention then of driving up to Great Yarmouth and carry on walking from there, heading north, and I won't know quite what I'm going to fit in until I actually get there and study the bus timetables. So that's more or less, by the time I get back, that would have got rid of that little link up where walking from the south to the north of Lowestoft, that fits into the story, and as I say, I'll try and continue later. Good afternoon. It's Tuesday the 25th of June and it's around 2:30. A little bit of a late start this afternoon. I'm not worried about that at all, because what I'm doing is quite simple. I'm walking from Cromer heading in a westerly direction, which is rather unusual, isn't it? For those of you who know your geography, you'll know that this is more or less the only northern walk in on the east coast, and along to like Hunstanton and towards the Wash, which is my eventual destination, to sort of Kings Lynn, and the A149 I think it is, maybe the 148, I'm not sure, takes you all the way around there, and they've got a very, very good bus service which is designed very much for walkers. There's 3 separate buses. I'm told that there's an hourly service, which is excellent. So what that means is I've left the van here in Cromer, managed to find a really good place to park right outside Halfords, which, as you know, I've stayed outside Halfords many times. I went in there this morning to buy a new right side mirror because my other one fell off. Fortunately I'd got a spare, but I always like to carry another spare with me. And I didn't get here until late yesterday afternoon because I did a walk yesterday down in Lowestoft, from the south beach to the north beach, just to fill in the gap from when I was there the day before, where I stopped at the south beach and there was a festival and it was too crowded to park, so I went to the north of the town and walked that stretch yesterday morning. I also did an awful lot of computer work and had some very interesting conversations with my daughter, who has been helping me to rearrange my computer so that we can now put on the giving page, which is working perfectly okay. And I noticed that several people have also donated to the site already, so I'm delighted to see at long last that is working properly. So I'm going to go back tonight to the same place to park outside of Halfords, and then I'll move on like tomorrow when I've finished tomorrow's walk, and keep on heading towards Hunstanton. So I've got no idea how far I'm going to walk today. I'm just going to go as far as I can and get a bus back. I think my peace might be disturbed here. I'll come back to you in a minute. It was a group of disabled people walking up or being pushed up this rather steep hill by various people, and it took rather a while. And I've forgotten what I was saying, but I'll make it up as I go along, as I usually do, wanting not to waffle on for too long. Yes, I say my daughter, we had probably 2 hours on the computer yesterday. She was calling me from Manchester, and she was talking me through how to install the program and so on. And it's amazing, in the 15 months that I've been walking, how I seem to have lost a lot of my IT skills, maybe because I've been doing more or less the same thing day after day after day, week in, week out for 15 months, all relative to this walk, and very little else apart from Facebook and YouTube. So I had to be helped through it, and she rang me again last night just to make sure that everything was going okay. But having done some walking and some driving, my head was just absolutely full of it. But I did manage to get the thing moving, and Sam was such a fantastic, patient teacher, and her IT skills are far superior to mine, and it was absolutely wonderful. So if you're watching, Sam, thanks from your dear old dad, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Grimsby on the 14th of July with the grandkids and Rich, and we'll have a good day together, and I can't wait for that. So tonight I'm going to be ringing my friend Bry to have a natter, because I am so close to crossing the line for the number of subscribers that I need. I want to get to 1,000, and this morning when I left the van there was 981, so it looks as if I'm going to make it, but I'm not going to celebrate until I have. So I'm going to set off now. I'm just to say walking as far as I can walk, or as far as I want to walk, with a view to getting back here something around about like 8 o'clock this evening, so I'll do my very best. I only did a fairly short walk yesterday. I feel quite rested. I had a good night's sleep, and even though I've been busy on my computer again this morning, and I've just put on the latest vlog, which I hope you enjoy. I'm catching up to date slowly, and I will eventually get round to sending messages to all of you people personally. If you sent a message to me, I'm going to send you one back, but I just ask you to be patient. And thank you very much indeed for all of the new subscribers, and also to the new people on Facebook, of which there are a couple of hundred have probably joined over the weekend, and that is just unbelievable. And that's why I've got inundated, and that's why I've got a little bit sort of tired, because I'm doing an awful lot more computer work than I've ever done in my life, I think. But I'm feeling very happy today, very relaxed, and looking forward to getting on with this walk. The weather's a little bit changeable. The sun's just poking through occasionally. There's a slight stiff breeze coming from the west, which I'll be walking against, and there's lots of people around walking in t-shirts and stuff. I've got to get warmed up first, and then I'll probably strip down, and there's going to be plenty of cups of tea along this walk, I'm sure, and that's great news. So, one last thing. Ralph phoned me yesterday. Everything's okay. His mum's in hospital, and it's unlikely that she'll be coming out. That's all I can say on the subject. And Ralph is very keen to come back, and when that will be, I've no idea. But in the meantime, the reason I've moved up here to Cromer, just in case you're wondering, is that it's a very rough path from Great Yarmouth to Cromer because of the public transport situation, and that's when I'm going to need someone to walk with me with the vehicle, so that with the logistics will be made so much easier. And I'm still waiting to hear from Ray to find out whether his daughter's given birth. So there's a lot going on, and I would imagine that my friend Peter should be somewhere around soon, after spending some time with his wife in their caravan in Scarborough. So if my friend Ralph was here, and for those of you who don't know who Ralph is, he's a very nice Welsh guy that I met on the Pembrokeshire Coastal Path, and he's been to walk with me on 2 or 3 occasions now. Lovely chap, and I can't wait for him to come back and see him again. So if he was here, he would say, here we go. talk? You're going to talk to me? Hello. Mr. Pickles. Are you Mr. Pickles? Ah. Ah, you're a big fella, aren't you? Look at you. You're a big boy, aren't you? Eh? So I've met Sally, and she's with her husband who's a bit camera shy, and he doesn't really want to say anything, so we're not going to embarrass him by showing him, but he's a very nice guy, but this isn't for everybody. So Sally, I've just seen you both walking along. You're coming at me at a different direction, and you was telling me that you are actually avid walkers. Then you've done quite a few challenges in the past.
Yeah, we've walked a lot of the coast. We went to the northeast last year.
Yes.
We've been on the Jurassic Coast down in Somerset.
That's
is it?
stunning, isn't it?
I loved it. That was my favourite.
It's Dorset, actually.
Dorset, okay.
Yeah,
Dorset.
Durdle Door and Lulworth Cove and all
We've
those.
walked the Isle of Wight.
Yes.
Yeah, we walk everywhere we go.
Excellent. How long have you been doing that then? Have you over the years?
Oh, I'd say 10 years or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's lovely to see these people now. I mean, I talk about this quite often. I mean, I reckon 99% of the population of Great Britain's never even seen a coastal path. Never mind walk on it. You know what I mean?
So?
Yeah. I mean, when you think about
maybe
it,
it's an age thing. I don't think I would have done it when I was young.
Well, no, that's true. I mean, it's fine in the time, isn't it? I mean, most people who are in the retirement age, they've got to fill their days with something, and they've got a few quid in the pocket all of a sudden, and they get out and about and see the country and stuff. And I'm encouraging more of those people to get on the coastal path.
I love the coastal paths.
Yes.
Love them.
It's got a magic, hasn't it? And everybody's so decent, and we're all like-minded, and everybody says hello. It's dead friendly.
And the sea's different every time you see it.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, today's not a perfect walking day, is it?
No,
you can't
it isn't,
see very much, but it's still lovely to be out.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised that we've actually got out, because the forecast was awful a couple of days ago. I mean, I heard the rain on my roof from my van last night beating down. Yeah. But I mean, I was up early at 4 o'clock editing like yesterday's film, and it was still raining. But
well, you can tell it's bad weather because I've got big boots on, and the rest of the week I didn't have my boots on.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I wear trainers all of the time.
Yeah.
I've worn boots on 4 days in this, 470 days I've been walking, and so yeah, it's been a great experience of meeting lovely people like yourselves. So all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
So where are you heading now, by the way?
We're going to West Runton.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There's
a nice pub there, so that's where we'll end up.
I noticed they've got. We're nearly in West Runton now.
Yeah, nearly there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But what's great about this part of the coast is you can walk as far as you want and get the bus back.
Yes.
I love that because you can keep going. You don't have to think, oh, it's getting dark.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I've left my van in Cromer, and I'm walking as far as I want to, sort of thing. But I really like starting early in the morning, and you can have a really good walk then. I mean, I didn't start until 2 o'clock.
Well, you couldn't really go out the door till 2 o'clock, could you?
Well, no, exactly. and to me, like doing 5 or 6 miles is better than doing no miles at all. I spend far too much time.
And you've got a lovely part of the coast to go, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you'll really enjoy it. It's lovely, and lots of birds.
Yes. Lovely to meet you, Sally.
Yep, you
Thank
too.
You very much
All the
indeed.
best, and
Thank
to your
you.
wife.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. it's 5:40 now. So that's about it. It's been a good day, I've enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow.